Kyle, this is a safe space, okay? Let's everybody just take a big, deep breath. It's all over. The season's come to an end. It was a murderous thumping tonight. Philadelphia closed out the series in 6 games, 132 points to a measly 97. Kyle, did not see this transpiring the way it did, but then when you watch it happen, you're kind of like, this isn't. I'm actually not surprised that this was a potential scenario where, they basically took the ball away, took the ball out of Pascal's hands, asked other Toronto Raptors to step up, and when you go 3 for 20 from 3-point shooting, and other guys are just not executing when they have the ball, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
Yeah, it's rough. I mean, we can get into the game here. Eventually, we'll have some sort of a year recap. But in general, there's not much that's even worth diagnosing tonight beyond like they didn't shoot the ball well. And a lot of the issues that plagued them all year were, really came out in full force tonight. Like it got ugly at some points. Like that third quarter, the Raptors were trailing 1 point heading into the third quarter, and the game was basically over with half the third left. So, yeah, guys, look, we can say we're playing with house money. I think the series, in retrospect, the Raptors began the series favored by ESPN's BPI metric, which is some sort of comprehensive. It's a proprietary metric, so we don't exactly know how it works, but it's like using their analytics to determine who should be the victor of the series. The Raptors were favored by 52%. So I kind of am a little tired of hearing like it was a development year, this is a house money line. Like they could have won this series pretty easily. They dug themselves a big hole. They lost game 3 when they outplayed the Sixers, and they kind of put them way behind the 8 ball for the rest of the series. So tonight is just a smaller piece of a larger issue, I think, with this Raptors team. But in general, I don't want to be too catastrophic. I wouldn't call this a disappointing year.
Hold on, I'm just putting my headphones in because I forgot to do that. Can you hear me, Kyle?
Take your time. I could hear you before. I can hear you now.
Perfect. Yeah, I think it's the same thing with all season and us trying to diagnose the Toronto Raptors. It's like we were never healthy. We were never at full strength. We could never execute our strategies and our schemes to any like longitudinal manner. Like it was always like short little chunks of time, and then someone was out or something was going on. And that was a microcosm of this series. Like we don't have Gary healthy, we don't have Scotty healthy, we don't have Thad healthy, and then we lose Freddie. And like I for one was not worried about Freddie being gone towards the end of this series because I do think we had a better team without him. But that's kind of dumb because what really that should mean is that Nurse plays Freddie in select roles, and I don't think he would have, and I think that's why I'm okay. That's why I was okay with Freddie being injured, is because I think Nurse would have played him 40 minutes, even if he was getting cooked by Maxey. But ultimately, Freddie should have played 15 to 20 minutes in this game, and he might have been the zone buster that we needed, in that first and second quarter. And we didn't have that luxury, and we didn't have anybody else that was gonna, get us hit those open shots the same way Danny Green and Maxey and Harris did in this game. And so, like we just, even though we might have been favored in the series, and I think we should have won this series, like Philadelphia got lucky, in my opinion. We were shorthanded the entire time.
Yeah, we were shorthanded the entire time, and I think in like their 4 wins, they are shooting basically like upwards of 40% from 3 on average. So that's just sort of basketball is sometimes pretty easy to analyze. It's like, hey, this team shot better from 3, they won the game. They shot 40% from 3 tonight. But what I will say, like, yeah, I agree with you. I think that in game 5, I was fully on board with like this team is better without Fred. They perform better without Fred. I'm not missing Fred, etc. They could have used him big time tonight. There was just not the offensive architecture, infrastructure, whatever you want to call it, around Pascal is just not enough. There's not enough shooting out there. They can't field a lineup with enough shooters, especially like, oftentimes their lineups were basically like saved, pulled out of the depths of hell shooting wise by Precious's emergence as a shooter. He was off tonight. By the way, while we're here, thank you, Matthew. I'm not sure if I necessarily just agree with that we're way ahead of schedule because this is a team that's I don't know, but we'll get to that later. But yeah, they just don't have enough shooting on the floor. Like you can't play all of these non-shooters and expect to run a good offense. And so, like when you're okay, fine. They turn the Sixers over 11 times tonight, which is all right. It's not necessarily where they want to be at. They were hitting the offensive glass pretty aggressively. To their credit, the Raptors were. They had 15 offensive rebounds, but in general, like if you're not going to get those easy points in transition off the turnovers or those little, those tip-ins, etc., they can't win games with this offense. So the goal, eventually would be figure out a way where you can field enough guys who can force the turnovers because they're long and athletic while also being a good enough team on offense, whether that be through shooting, whether that be scheme wise, because I think Nurse does bear some of the blame for this this series. The Raptors, admittedly, I think Nurse is a great coach, but admittedly don't have much of an offensive philosophy at times beyond just like iso ball, high pick and roll type stuff. But we can get into that later. I think for now, like who do you want to focus on tonight? Obviously, Pascal had a great night. Should we start off positive or negative?
I just want to say that I think, part of the reason why this game fell apart so quickly or that we couldn't really capitalize on when we were leading was that zone. And all of it kind of perpetuates itself in the sense that, like, if you miss or if they score, they're able to go back down and get into their zone. And if you're not getting in transition and getting easy buckets, it's a lot harder for us to score. And so, like it just, you could see the inertia setting in and the momentum dying as the zone just kind of like coagulated. And so often in the first half, like, Gary hit a lot of shots early that were just like badass shots, but there was a lot of attacking from the top of the zone. There wasn't a lot of ball movement. The only time there was any real sound zone offense, I think, was when THUD was in that high post cooking. And I saw somebody say that, like, if Freddie was in the game, Pascal could have been that short roller and played in the high post. And instead he was the ball handler. And I think, to your point, I think like this is a little bit on Nurse. Like we didn't exploit OG in the zone. We didn't exploit Pascal in the zone. And that zone really kind of sucked us dry.
The other part of it is that guys are unwilling to shoot off of kickouts. Like it's sometimes you need to take contested shots. There was a possession, and I wish I asked you to clip it, Chris, our producer Chris, tonight. We should introduce ourselves. Have we done that yet? Okay, it's a 9-minute mark.
I'm your host, Adon Moss, and this is Kyle Brickman and our producer Chris. This is the wrap up live for all the. I kind of figured a viewership would be down because I feel like
it's only the day ones. It's like the hardcore fans tonight.
I feel like our audience is at Jurassic Park, and maybe Chris, I don't know if you can bring up that Twitter video, but like
I want to talk about this too.
Jurassic Park was giving it to all the corporatists exiting early in Toronto so they could get into their Audis and their BMWs before rush hour kicked in.
Yeah, it's ugly. Man, they're not getting like the arena is 70, or at least the lower bowl is like 70% empty. 8 minutes into 8 minutes left in the third quarter. Like people aren't even getting back from halftime. It's ugly, man. What happened? Yeah, I remember that clip of LeBron, talking about the Raptors fans after they beat them in 6 games in the Eastern Conference Finals, and he's just like gushing over how awesome the Raptors fans are and how like committed and incredible their fans are. And by the way, that was a sad loss. It was just like another one of those like LeBron destroying us moments. And Doris Burke is interviewing him and he goes like, "Oh, are you hearing this? Like this is the best fan base in the NBA or whatever." And it is like actually quiet in there in Scotiabank. I don't think anyone's afraid to go into Scotiabank Arena anymore. I can't imagine anyone is legitimately like the crowd has zero energy. and good on the Jurassic Park people for booing these dudes because they deserve it.
You gotta direct your discontent somewhere, right?
Yeah. But seriously, lower bowl is the top. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, it's filled. This happened in Golden State when for the longest time the fans of the Warriors were people from Oakland, got dudes who cared about basketball, and it eventually became like a tech thing. It's the same thing in Toronto.
Yeah,
It's like a
yeah.
finance tech convention at the
Take your
Scotiabank Center.
clients.
And no one cares about the game. And it's actually sad. I don't think Scotiabank is a scary place to play anymore. I don't think so at all.
Now, just picture all of those fans with like Joker faces or Joker masks on and something like that's the closest we'll get to 21st century anarchy. I think like pitchforks and stuff is like getting mad over sports fans not being good enough fans. But yeah, our wrap up host Oren Weisfeld was at the game and he was tweeting photos of the arena at leading up to the game, and he said it was empty. Like the photos indicated that it was empty. And we're going off topic, but we're not gonna.
Do you want to be on topic tonight? It's this.
No,
the
I don't.
topic is a little sad.
I'd just rather hate on rich people personally. But yeah, so that doesn't help. And like that. I mean, there is part of that that's really important to a team that's like young, trying to. I guess what does tie here is that I think Scotty didn't have a good game. Precious obviously had a really bad game. Gary kind of fell off. And I don't think they're incapable of stepping up to the moment. But I do think that when you're not scoring, particularly for Precious and Scotty, at like a successful rate, like your defense kind of falls off or like your concentration falls off. And that kind of seemed to be the case, especially on the defensive end. Like we were not locked in as a unit and everybody's got to be locked in. And Scotty certainly wasn't. Gary had a lot of troubles. Even Precious didn't really look to be his elite self. And so, maybe, having a crowd that's like chanting and roaring and going crazy, like maybe even though you're 1 for 7, you're still locked in defensively because you have that, what is it called? What's it in basketball? The sixth man?
Sure.
The 11th man in football, right? Or the 13th man?
Maybe 12. You're all over the place.
I don't care
the
about
COVID
football.
has gone into your brain.
I could care less about football. I'm sorry.
Okay. We should talk about at least one positive thing about the game. And
okay.
To me, that's Chris Boucher. I think Chris Boucher had his best game as a Raptor, all things considered. Really, weirdly carrying the Raptors offense for stretches as a roll man and as like a presence on the offensive glass. He at times he looked like he was the only dude out there actually really giving 110%. And I think part of that is that like Scotty's injured. Pascal is exhausted. Pascal is visibly exhausted. OG basically didn't assert himself and wasn't super involved. But Chris, tremendous night. I think this was the best night of his career. I'll be really disappointed to see him go because this is potentially Chris Boucher's last ever game as a Raptor. And you know what? That hurts me. I want him. I want to see him stick around. I think, especially considering the performance he had tonight and the fact that like he carried the bench for stretches this season, he's got to be back next year. No?
Yeah, I think so. I'm just going to pause and shout out Matthew again for his super chat donation. Matthew is a faithful listener and is always contributing money. So thanks, Matt. We appreciate that. I'm going to take that $5 and go buy a pint. And I do think, sorry to pause the Boucher thing, but I do think we do forget that Precious is a child. Scotty's a child. Gary's a child. OG's a child. Like we have so many more years.
And you don't mean that derisively. You mean that as they're literally children.
Yeah, they're embryos. They're in the embryonic stage of their NBA careers, and so we have so much to look forward to in that regard. With Boucher, do I want him back? Is that what you're asking me?
Just in general, what did you think of his performance? But actually, before I even ask you that, we have to. Ben Mitchell. We have to mention. Ben Mitchell says, "Thanks for the season, guys. Love every show. Can't wait for what next season brings. Only upward trajectory. P.S. THUD and Boucher combo needs more love." I agree. I know Aiden's going to agree with that. The last portion of the statement. And Ben, thank you for the $50. I'm gonna take the $50 and spend it on multiple pints. How about
no? You're just gonna put it on like the crap staple or something.
I'm gonna put it on the crap. Dude, it's going right down the. It's going right
Snake
to the
eyes.
Nova Scotia. Okay.
What were you asking about Chris Boucher?
Come back to Chris Boucher.
Chris Boucher, like, quite literally saved us from getting blown out in the first part of the game. Like, those timely, and he's been doing this for 4 months straight now, of these like timely cuts, these timely offensive rebounds, drawing fouls. I've said this time and again. I wish I could track the number of times Boucher has drawn a foul on trying to get an offensive rebound, because it's truly miraculous. He drew a flagrant foul that was not called on Embiid. He exemplifies the kind of grit that we actually don't have a lot of on this team. Like, the guy, like, we have physical offensive players, but we don't have a lot of physical defensive players who like really just throw their bodies in there the way that Boucher does. And I think like we all kind of were starting to be out on Boucher at the beginning of the year, and to be fair to us, he was not playing like the Boucher he's playing now. So do I want him back? I do. I absolutely do. I think he should have been in contention for 6th man of the year. He didn't really have the stats, but I think he had an awesome second half of the year. How much he costs is a question, but.
Yeah, I just started running the Can-Am Taxman of the Night banner, as you said. I figured we were in agreement in this. Is there anyone else who's even worth mentioning? I think it has to be Chris. He was the only person giving me any sort of life tonight, and giving the Raptors any sort of life tonight. So for that, Chris Boucher is the Can-Am Taxman of the Night.
Our last one of the year.
The last one of the year. Well, I think we'll do a recap show. And I think
we're not going to do a taxman of. Oh, maybe we'll do taxman of the year.
Taxman of the year. Taxman of the show.
Well, it's taxman. Last taxman of the night.
Okay. VJ has supported us all year, and continues to support us, and we love him for that. I'm not sure if he's in the chat tonight. I'm not sure if he'll be watching tomorrow, but we want to give a big thank you to VJ, because he's been really supportive of the show, and he lets us he makes it worthwhile for us to do what we do. Guys, what is it? The 28th? You got what, 3 days to get those taxes? And I actually don't know.
Let me tell you, I just did my taxes last night, and it was a goddamn nightmare.
You didn't use VJ. Hold up. Wait a second.
Didn't use VJ.
You mean VJ did your taxes?
I'm like, I don't make a lot of money. I don't have a lot of assets. I'm like, this is going to be easy. And, I'm currently with COVID, and I'm trying to do my taxes with COVID. It was an absolute nightmare. I was stuck online for 2 hours. I kept getting logged out by CRA and every other goddamn account. I should have gone to VJ. That's all I'm saying. I should have gone to VJ.
Ryan, speaking of day one fans, VJ and also Ryan, thank you for the $75.
Ryan's our boy too. Yeah.
We're getting all kinds of buys tonight. I gotta upgrade my unit. Ryan says, been watching the Raptors Public Dynasty build since Zarar was posting anon and mostly posting about Premier League. Zarar greater than Blake, greater than Will. Wait, sorry, that's not greater than it. I think it's meant to be Zarar to Blake to Will to Samson to Lou, and God knows who I'm missing. Us. You're missing us.
That's okay. No,
paying my overdue reading / fees. Thanks, guys. Thanks, everyone. But thank you specifically to Ryan. Ryan's always in here every single night, win or loss. Ryan is in here more often than you and I are.
Ryan comments a lot. I love it. Another great connection to taxes, Ryan. Go get that written off. I think that counts as like a
charitable donation.
Or a media. You can get, if you pay a fee for a newspaper. We count. We're media. We count.
VJ is like shit. VJ will work that out, man. Don't even worry. VJ will sort that all out.
Absolutely.
VJ Verma, guys. Numbers at the top of the screen. Sorry, I can't even figure it out. It's too difficult to point. Top of the screen, and thanks VJ. I think we can probably move on.
Do we want to just,
let's do some cues. Let's just.
I was just gonna say, can we go straight to questions? Do we really want to analyze this game? We can. But I think questions. I think we all want to kind of get out of here. This is a tough one to digest. So let's maybe ask some questions. You can ask about the now, the past, the present. Lay it on us. You can tip us too if you want to continue to do that too, but don't feel obligated to either.
Phil, by the way, Phil Evans is in here, man. Phil said something about, oh, I'm showing up tonight. Like, man, you can't just show up after wins. That's weak. That looks bad.
Yeah, you got to come for the losses too.
You got to come for the losses and say, at least come for the losses and gloat. Like, you can't just show up for the wins. That's weak. That's weak. And I expected more of you because I know you Philly boys are tough. I know you guys are good labor, union type of town. And I expected more of you. I expected you to be a little bit stronger. I don't know what to say.
Also, the American dollar is twice our currency, so you should be tipping us hardcore right now. Okay, what role should Fred have next season?
I'd like to see him more off the ball. I'd like to see him more. Yeah, and by the way, while we're being generous, Brian is also
Brian's another good dude.
We can't do everyone, but Brian is also tremendous.
No, we'll do them as they come. But
I'd like to see him more off the ball, to be honest, and I think that'll come naturally as Scotty emerges more as a playmaker on the ball. I think Scotty's likely the best natural playmaker on this team, although I got to give some love to Malachi Flynn. He's not effective as a playmaker, but I think he actually does run the point pretty well. But yeah, I think Scotty will command more touches next year, and I think Fred will be moved off the ball a little bit more, which is kind of his best role. Like, he should be a movement shooter. He shouldn't be a high pick and roll operator. That would be my opinion. I assume you agree?
I 100% agree. Reduce those minutes by a good 15%. Take them off ball. Have Scotty run it. Have Pascal run it. Like, that was very effective this year.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, get Freddie. Like, buy Freddie some time. Man, Freddie on the weak side with think about how Maxey feasted on us, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was like
those Freddie in the Maxey role.
Exactly, those kickouts with the defense shifting. He's quick. He can shoot. He's savvy. Like, imagine trying to close out on Freddie. He's one of the top 3-point shooters in the league from 40 feet. Where he is the top, other than Curry. Or he can get by you. Like, that's a very difficult thing, defensive assignment to figure out. So I think that's where I want to see him, but just generally reduced time overall, please. God, please.
I got into Matthew coming in with another 50. So we're up to $185 tonight. Big night. Thank you, Matthew. Guys, this is I mean, Saul was so close to joining this show, decided not to at the last minute, and frankly, I'm not complaining. I do miss his presence, Saul. If you're watching, we miss you, buddy, but I'm sorry.
Do we get the money per night? Is that how it works?
I don't know. That'll be worked. Guys, we don't have to go into the financials.
While we're
VJ will work that all out for us.
While we're shouting out people, shout out Phoenix too, who's jumping in from Mexico. Dude, you should.
No, he says the Raptors are in Cancun.
Oh, I see. I get it. I thought I was picturing Phoenix and his partner were in Cancun and they're drinking. I'm like, that must be nice. Anyway, shout out. Another question. You choose, Kyle.
I think does THUD come back? I would imagine. I don't think you make that trade. And this sort of ties into another question, which was I think I'm not sure where it went. It's was the THUD trade worth it? We don't have to really litigate that now. To me, I think he'll stick around. I think the trade was made sort of with a couple years in mind. I would imagine he'd be around for a little while, and if he's around for a while, I think it probably is worth it because they're only moving down a tiny bit relatively, and he was an impactful player. He almost won a playoff game by himself, I believe, in Game 4. Was it? So I think if he sticks around, which he will likely, it was worth
it. Shout out Top Shot. Those $2 have been flowing all season, so you don't have to give us the 75 to 50 because that's been going the whole time. Thad Young, I think Thad's at a point in his career where I definitely don't think he wants to get shelved by a team again, and I think he would be at risk of doing that were he to go to the wrong team. Kind of like how Marc Gasol went to the Lakers, and then it was like, oh, bye-bye. So I think he understands that Toronto values him more than other teams. I also think Thad values Toronto more than other teams. Like they play how he likes to play. They leverage his skill sets, unlike other teams. So I think it's going to be one of those Ken Birch kind of signings where this is like a mutual, like, we don't want to pay too much for you, but we're going to honor the fact that you are a veteran and you need to get paid. So I expect him to come back for sure.
Yeah, no, almost no doubt in my mind. But again, what do we know? We're not in the front office. We don't claim to have any connections. This is all speculation, but I would imagine he's back. That's what I'll say.
Shout out Kay. Thanks for the 15 bones. We hit 49 wins, man. That was great.
Yeah, completely unexpected. Crazy financial night for us too, by the way. Like, this is
don't get too excited, Kyle.
No, it's all right. Okay. Yeah, let's does Utah come back? I don't know. I almost swore there. I almost
free Utah, man. Just free him. Let him go.
What do you guys do until November? I don't know. Maybe pick up baseball. I think the Jays are quite good. What do you want me to tell you?
Okay. The $1 million tournament. No, wait, that's in March, isn't it? WNBA is just starting up. I think WNBA is getting, well, it's always been a good product and has always been good basketball to watch, but it's getting bigger. And if you want to honestly, you watch any game and it is like star-studded. So I highly recommend getting into that. Now would be a good transition. I don't know, CFL, I don't know.
No, that's an instant.
How are they still alive? I don't know. What we got now?
Toronto needs. Yeah, Toronto. You know what? Toronto absolutely needs a dub.
Let's talk about all of that.
There's an actual hunger for basketball in Toronto, like serious hunger for basketball in Toronto. And I actually don't know. I don't know what the WNBA is really doing.
It's not Toronto. It's Canada.
Yeah.
Like Vancouver needs an NBA team and a WNBA team stat. And I think Montreal is almost ready there too. You saw how football has taken off with the MLS. And I think that's because, there's like a generation of people that like enjoy that more than fucking hockey. And it's the same thing with basketball. Like our generation and younger care about basketball way more than hockey, and it's only going to grow. Vancouver's got way too much money they know what to do with. I think there's a lot of room for WNBA, and yeah, I mean maybe the franchise can't afford it, but definitely NBA too. Like there should be a team in Vancouver, no question.
Yeah, well, basketball in Canada is in a pretty great place. In fact, I was actually talking to one of my friends, my friend Will, who grew up in New York. It's like, man, we're at the point where there are better NBA players from Toronto than there are in New York. Like there are the big New York dudes who that was like the mecca for basketball. That's where all the good players came from. Toronto couldn't field a better NBA team than New York at this point, which is, if you told someone that even 10 years ago, they would laugh in your face. And
it is crazy.
30 years ago, they would have you like lobotomized.
All you have to do is look at the Canadian content in NCAA every year, and it's like it almost like grows exponentially.
And they got Sharp and Mathurin are going to be top 10 picks. We've talked about this. I'm really high on Benedict Mathurin, and Shaden Sharp. That's his name, right? Shaden.
I think so.
Shaden Sharp is kind of a bit of a wild card, but could be ridiculously good in the NBA. So, yeah.
Oh yeah, we have the CEBL too. I forgot.
We've done a good job. This has been a good spin. This has been a good positive spin.
I want to get to this question from Max Pasemko, a legitimate listener. Has some crazy thoughts sometimes, but that's cool. Most important free agency signing. I'm assuming positionally, not necessarily player. Kyle, what do you think? Positionally, what are you looking for?
But they said free agent re-signing. So this, I would assume that means upcoming free agent. To me, it's Chris Boucher. I think he's you kind of need him around. He carries the bench unit energy wise. He's probably ready for a bigger role And if they can find a guard, like a bench guard, who can develop a chemistry with Chris Boucher, develop a little two-man game, that could be a good little piece to the Raptors bench. I think if Flynn develops into that person or someone else, we'll see. Tom, thank you for the super sticker. Tom Duke, while we're at it, Tom Duke. Yeah, I feel the same way. That's how I'm feeling tonight, dude. Yeah.
Okay, Phoenix has asked 3 goddamn times. Phoenix, just at least super chatter if you're going to ask about Tyus Jones 3 separate times, for Christ's sake. Yes, Tyus Jones is like the quintessential point guard. I think he has like 2 turnovers in his entire career or something. He can shoot the 3. He's a perfect backup. He is the idyllic backup point guard. There's no question. I don't know how much he's going to cost, though. I mean, he should. I am assuming he's a free agent. That's why you're asking. I think he should fetch a good amount. I would picture like 330 kind of thing. So I don't know. I mean, maybe. But is he what we want though? Like, we gotta ask, like, philosophically. Like, yes, we need somebody to take minutes off of Fred. But when it's all said and done, like, what do we actually want our bench to be filled with? I think really what we want is a scorer more than we do. Like Tyus Jones is the guy that's going to bring the ball up, take care of the ball, initiate the offense, and then spot up for 3 and attack once in a while. That's about it. I think we kind of need more than that. But like, can you find that? I don't know.
Yeah, it's going to be the options I'm going to tell you guys right now, unless there's a Raptors make a huge move, free up some cap space. We're looking at MLE guys all summer. Like, it's not going to be huge off-season free agency wise, but yeah, I think maybe we should do one more, and then we'll head out.
Oh, Jalen Harris.
Get rid of. Matthew, thank you.
Yeah, if you gotta go, Kyle, go for it. I can.
Oh, you want to stick around? You want to hang out?
No, I don't care. But I'll do the questions until it's our last show.
Let's find a good question, and we'll see what goes on. Are we going to get a draft video? Phoenix says, yeah. If you guys are interested in that, Adon and I will do like a little draft breakdown on the Canadians in the draft. And so I guess let us know. Hit us up. Our Twitters should be in the description. Hit us up on Twitter. That's our shameless plug. And speaking of shameless plugs, while we're here, we have to direct you towards ScoreBet. I don't even know what there is to bet on anymore. I guess you can bet on other NBA games. I've been betting on
Dallas tonight.
I'm big on the old Blue Jays run line. Okay. Blue Jays run line betting. Baseball betting is good if you have like a serious problem because you get to do it every single day. It's clearly really bad for me.
You can bet every inning, can't you?
You can bet every inning. I love the all of the betting, like, because I don't know if you're watching the American feeds or the Canadian feeds, but the Ontario ones are just inundated with betting stuff. And they keep there's that Aaron Paul one where do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh my god.
He's like, "Oh, you can bet while the game's running." Like, yeah, it's like obvious. That's like being like the car has a parking brake. Like, of course you can bet when the game's running. No one would download an app where you can't live bet games. Let's get real.
Is it his commercial? It's like he's trying to hide his Breaking Bad voice.
Yeah.
It's like, I do not believe the voice that is coming out of his mouth. It's a terrible commercial.
But you know, it's a great commercial. All of this bet, the ScoreBet ones, all of the ScoreBet ones, including this commercial that we're currently doing at the moment. So, guys, ScoreBet, link in the description. Let them know we sent you over, specifically us. And yeah, thanks for ScoreBet. Again, they're everywhere. If you thought you could escape them by turning off the broadcast, nope, they're here too. And yeah, check them out. Bet the rest of the NBA playoffs. Look, the Raptors can be out, but that doesn't mean that you can't be a basketball fan. And if you need a little bit of financial incentive, ScoreBet's your men, your organization. Who knows?
Who are you hitching your bandwagon to, Kyle?
Oh, that's tough. That's really tough. Oh, you go first. Let me take a second to think about it. I think Boston without Middleton. The only thing that would concern me about Boston is that Milwaukee series, but without Middleton, it's kind of hard to say. I think they might get past Milwaukee fairly easily, and they might be my pick. But give me 1 second. Let me do a little scoping of the.
I have an answer. It is 1,000 going to be PJ Tucker throwing elbows into that fake of an MVP, Joel Embiid, for 5 games because this game's going to be over real fast. I cannot wait to watch those games. Miami is they're the closest thing to violent as far as NBA teams go, and there's going to be a point where the refs just can't call all the fouls that Miami is going to unleash on Embiid, and it's going to be a joy to watch that. I'm very much looking forward to I don't know. The East is going to be a war, that's for sure. Miami, Boston, and Milwaukee are all just the Sixers are aight, but
yeah, I'm a non-believer in Miami. That's what I'll say. But
I don't think they can get past Milwaukee.
Yeah, but is Milwaukee getting past Boston? No. To me, the Suns won tonight.
Did they?
What's the Devin Booker timeline? Because
he came back, didn't he?
Was he back tonight? I didn't get a chance to watch the game.
Yeah.
If he's back tonight, then that's a tremendous news, and I have to pick the Suns. I think the Suns look like the best team in the NBA. Were the best team in the NBA all year. They've got the right type of team to win in the playoffs. They're gritty. They've got long switchable defenders. They're imagine the Raptors if they could actually had some defenders who could shoot on the other end. So give me Phoenix. I'm a Phoenix believer.
I took Milwaukee Golden State at the start of the playoffs, so I'll stick with that. But I do think Dallas is somebody to be worried about. I feel like they're the style. It's kind of the same thing with the Clippers. Like their style is so antithetical to a team like Phoenix that if they got hot over the course of 4 or 5 games, I could see them kind of ripping past, upsetting Phoenix and getting to the conference finals.
Yeah, but we'll see. Also, you're talking about the Warriors, right?
No, I say Dallas.
Oh, yeah, no, that's what I was going to say.
I took the Warriors, but I would keep an eye out on Dallas.
Yeah, I was going to say we should mention the Warriors. They looked pretty good. They look actually scary good. Jordan Poole is kind of their best player, which is
kind of fallible. Like Jokic almost single-handedly. Jokic and Aaron Gordon and Scrubs almost.
It's not a knock on the guy. He's like one of the 3 best players in the league. You can't be like, oh well, they look fallible. One of the best, a tier 1 guy in the NBA took 1 game off them. That's not fallible to me.
Yeah, okay. Team like Denver should not be in those games, really. But
but they're getting back healthy. I don't know. I'm a Warriors believer. I always have been.
We cannot have Philly win a championship. There's just
I'll be upset. Phil will be in this chat relentlessly trolling us.
I couldn't bear it. That's kind of thing. That's why I want Milwaukee to win again. It's just one team that keeps winning in the East. That's fine. And then the East or Miami would be nice too. Jimmy and Lowry getting there would be pretty fun. Okay, we're gonna wrap this bad boy up. Kyle, choose one more question and then we'll bazounce. Maybe an open-ended one. Can we look at the Goran Dragic tweet quickly?
I was going to say, I wanted to go back to that one. Most of these questions are. Oh, come on! There's no way he did that.
Let's read into what that means.
That's his mentions were flooded with guys being like, "Oh, higher aspirations," or it was higher ambitions.
Oh yeah,
higher ambitions. And this is him laughing at the Raptors for, I guess, losing in the first round, although he himself lost in the first round. This is typical loser behavior from a dude who is a career loser. So it doesn't bother me.
It's very, the tweet is a tweet conversion of him shushing us after going 4 for 9 in the game against us. It's okay, dude. Phoenix wants to pull up the Murray tweet. He tweeted an image of Zach LaVine in a Spurs jersey.
What the hell is he doing? It's so random. I love it. But I don't even understand. NBA players are just doing whatever.
Kyle, would you sign Zach LaVine to a max right now if you're a Toronto Raptors?
No question. Wouldn't blink an eye. Wouldn't bat an eye. Wouldn't bat an eye. It's late here. It's late. It's my birthday. I want to go out.
It's your birthday?
It is my birthday. I turned 24 years old today. Yeah.
You're 24.
It's all over for me.
Jesus Christ. I could have thought you're 32.
Oh, that hurts. It's only worse.
No, that's your wisdom and your
It's my
maturity.
wisdom. Okay,
24. Happy birthday.
I know. The big year. Officially
Well,
mid-20s.
Go spend some of that wrap-up cash on.
I was going to say, it's going to be a good night with all this wrap-up cash.
That's good of you to stick it out. So we'll end on that. Raptor wrap-up audience, it's been a pleasure to have you around. This has really slowly just become the Kyle, Adon, and Chris and Don.
We're just hanging out.
Hangout sesh, and it's been a pleasure. We're gonna do more stuff. Maybe we'll do some draft stuff. I was gonna say, check out Brendan Stewart, Raptors Republic. He does all of our draft stuff, and he's very good. And otherwise, keep a heads up because we'll do some other stuff. It's too early to go away from you all.
Guys, thanks for the happy birthdays in the chat. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're Brickman. Let's go.
Okay.
That's it for the Toronto Raptors.
That's it for us.
Thanks a lot, Chris, for producing. We really appreciate it. Peace out.